of both. I'm not sure which business you're going to be talking about, but yeah, both.
And
E-reach.
Tactical Hive, right? That's more like a side project though, right?
Yeah, but it's blowing up.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
it's blowing
geez,
up.
right? One went this way.
Yeah, that's. I tell my close friends about that's very interesting because one's in the firearms industry and it
Of
just
course.
booming right now. So
Yeah, wow. All right, great. Well, we're recording. Myles, thank you so much for joining me on my show. It's a pleasure to finally have a chance to have a normal conversation with you, man.
well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. So you are the CEO and the founder of eReach. Um, you and I have been doing business together in the mostly the SEO space, but the online marketing space for years. I mean, I think it's safe to say that you and eReach have been our most valuable partner. I probably isn't too strong of a word. I would almost consider us partners at this point. Um, and you guys have an amazing team over there. You're based out of San Diego. I
Mhm.
always admire the efficiency and like the communication of your team in terms of the services industry.
Mhm.
Like that's something that I think most agencies lack, and you guys have done such a great job on it. So before I fluff you up too much, please just tell us about what eReach is, how you started it, why
Sure.
you started it, how long you guys have been in business.
Yeah, so eReach has been around for a long time now, over a decade.
Yeah.
And I started it, just a little bit of backstory. I started it because I had background in internet marketing and I used to fight professionally, mixed martial arts and kickboxing. So I had a lot of time on my hands. I didn't know what to do with it. So I started a forum. And all of a sudden, it just gained so much traffic. People just approached me to advertise. And I was like, wow, I can make money off of this website. And so I just kind of searched, okay, how can I make more money? That kind of got my feet wet with online marketing. And I picked up the skills, not by learning it in school or anything like that, I just picked up these skills. And then I went to law school and business school. And during that time, I wanted to find a job. So I started working with an internet marketing company and eventually over time got to the COO position. Had a little bit of some differences in running the company. So I started my own company and it just kind of naturally fell into it because I've had the internet marketing skills from when I was younger. And I was like, hey, might as well, because I saw what worked, what didn't work, and decided, okay, let's start eReach. And eReach used to be a complete full service digital marketing agency, like normally everyone starts, where website development, everything across the board, paid
Of
media, SEO.
course.
And then I decided that I reached actually this is the true story here. A lot of people think that I just pivoted, but it was because we began to specialize, but it was because I got bored. So after about, I reached a financial goal after about a year, just a year, and it wasn't a challenge anymore. And I just simply got bored. And I let a lot of our employees know about this because I believe in transparency and they know my personality.
Yeah.
And for 1 year, we were coasting, like literally coasting. Didn't do any prospecting, no clients, no new clients. Everything was great. And then I just decided, you know what? Let's specialize. And by doing that, we gained a lot more clients. And by specializing, we now focus on organic marketing. So it's anything dealing with SEO and link building and content marketing. For certain clients, though, we do paid media as well. So we do have a big direct response background. And so we only do this, we don't advertise it, but we only do this for clients who have been with us for a long time. They understand our background, they invest a lot in monthly, then we'll hand the paid media for them. Because as you know, Tim, a lot of people, they usually want to work with a one-stop shop, usually.
Mm.
And so that's kind of how it evolved from this general internet do-it-all marketing firm to someone that's specialized, or a firm that's specialized.
Yeah. I want to talk about the specialization part of it because I think that's such a great lesson for people starting out and maybe for people that a little bit further on the road. But before I do that, I want to hear a little bit more about that story because I never knew that about you. So you're a kickboxer. So was it Muay
Yeah,
Thai? You have Muay
yeah.
Thai?
Muay Thai. I competed in the mixed martial arts, and even before jujitsu and mixed martial arts were popular, I had started one of the first schools in Asia, and that blew up. And then I went to Chicago, and it's still there. It's the biggest mixed martial arts school in Chicago. It's been around now for over 10 years, and it's established. My middle brother runs the show now, and
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it was one of those things I did purely out of passion, and I was so young when I started it. I was 16. I had no intention. I didn't know money. I was just like, I just need money to buy some food and train.
Hmm.
But then it just started, the money started coming in, and that allowed me to do more things. I still didn't really fully understand what I had, but over time, I learned about it. But yeah, it was just it was a stepping stone. It got me started with everything.
Yeah, I love that. And so this was years ago when forums were still
Yeah,
more popular. And
yeah,
I'm comparing your story to my story a little bit. You know my website, Sober Nation,
mhm,
obviously, and I was a carpenter most of my life. I was like a contractor, and when I moved to Florida and I started that personal journey in my life, I just started writing about it, and I never had any plans to grow like some media brand. It was just
mm,
something that I was passionate about. And then people started approaching me like, wow, how did you build this brand? Is there any way that we can work together? And from there, I saw the opportunity and I transitioned a little bit. Was like I'm kind of figuring out how to do this online marketing thing,
uh,
and I think I can like make a business out of it. So I never realized that we shared that
yeah.
commonality in our journey.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And just one thing led to the other and just kept growing and growing and growing. And
Yeah,
yeah, worked out well.
yeah, I love it, man. So uh, let's talk about specialization
Mhm.
because when when I started Stodzy, it was the same exact thing. Like you would take anything that you can get, and you would take on things that you didn't even know that you knew how to
Yeah,
do. You know, you just say yes to
yeah.
everything and figure it out as you
Those
go.
times really, oh gosh, I don't miss those times.
Me neither
Yeah.
at all. Uh, for me, I remember reading this article. I forget what the dude's name is. He still owns his agency. It's called Nifty Marketing.
Mhm.
He wrote some like 50-page article about local search. And you remember when Moz used to have their like public blog, and then if
Yeah,
you submitted your stuff, you would get promoted to like the
yeah,
the actual Moz blog. It was one of those that got promoted. And in this article that he wrote, he talked about this experience he had where he decided he was starting an agency, and he was talking to a mentor, and his mentor said something around the lines of, there's 30,000 agencies or something in the country. Like, what are you going to do that's any different to stand
yeah,
yourself out? And that's when he decided, great point, I'm going to specialize. And he specialized in local. I took that and specialized in healthcare.
yeah,
You eventually, along your journey, just decided to specialize in inbound and mostly like the hard stuff about
yeah,
inbound, right? The link building, the outreach, the stuff that nobody wants to do.
yeah. Mhm.
Um, was that like a tactical decision that you made for
Yes.
business, or did you just get bored, like you said?
Well, we got bored in doing everything.
Yeah,
So when I decided to specialize, because I noticed that during that time, I can't remember exactly how many years ago. It's probably between 6 or 8 at that time, and it's still happening now. But at that point in time in my life, I was doing a lot of research, and I noticed that there was just so many similar agencies popping up and
yeah,
all full service. So kind of to your point, what you just mentioned, I was thinking, okay, I'm getting bored of doing everything anyway. Our team just is so spread. What can we focus on to be different from everyone else now? And what is it that would actually do, what should we specialize in? And so then we thought about it. We have great processes for SEO, for link building, everything. It's very streamlined, and I think I've mentioned this to you and your partner Brian before. It's literally that's what we're known for. People come to us because we're very transparent and everything's just all laid out. We provide the most communication to people, and so we noticed that was like the weak link for a lot of agencies, and most of our clients are actually agencies, and they like the process too because just like you mentioned, it stinks doing it. It's long, it's hard, and it can be, in terms of the benefit, if somebody does it well and does it for a long period of time, then the results are great. So decide to just focus on SEO. And to the point of specialization, it's exactly what I'm doing now with a new business. And it's similar to how you're focusing in healthcare. We're focusing in the tactical industry, where
Yeah.
now I'm taking the marketing expertise that the firm has, eReach, and just laser like focus on those who are trainers, who have facilities, ranges, things like that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I want to transition a little bit. Um, with the specialization, when I introduced you, I also mentioned your longevity. It's really not easy to be in the agency space for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And, you guys have really done it and continued to thrive, I'm sure, with your ups and downs, just like any other business has. But um, I've gotten to know your personality, and you're methodical, and you're very, very persistent. So I can kind of make my own assumptions. But in your words, what do you think has been the biggest reason for the longevity of
Mhm.
eReach? Like, what have you guys done to
Yeah, good
enable you to stick
question.
around?
So there's two things personally for eReach. I know everyone's a little bit different, but and there's I can confidently say for eReach and myself, these two are on the same level. I can't say one is better than the other. So there was two things that helped us really grow. One was an organized sales system, and what I mean
Yeah.
by that is when people use a CRM, some of them don't really religiously use it. So there was a complete process for us to reach out, to follow up, and we never ever leave a lead untouched for more than 3 months. So let's say it's even the ones that were in our system 10 years ago, we still hit them up. They might put us, they may have spam, put emails in spam or whatever, but it's nonstop. And like you said, persistent. But we do it in a nice way where, we're not harassing them. And there are degrees of follow-up. So as you're probably aware, for example, when someone's hot or warm, you're going to send them more emails, and over time, if they're not responding, then just spread out. So that's exactly what we did with all leads. Every single lead that has come in, if they don't say no, we're constantly on them. And so that's why we're always in top of mind. The second thing, and as I mentioned, this I can't say that this is better than the other one, but because in our experience, both did the same amount of work. But strategic partnerships, huge, 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 huge. Where I would, and this was strategic, where in any conferences, I would always befriend the, the business development managers from other agencies, or even the sales managers at different companies, so non agencies, because they're the ones who are always looking for, they're salespeople. They want to make money.
Hmm.
So sometimes their agencies would just be doing web development or maybe paid media. And of course, they want to make some money, they want a referral commission or whatever it might be, or they want a partnership with their agency. And then that's what would start it. So it's a win-win because they're making money, we're making money, and that worked out extremely well. One thing that a lot of new agency owners and business owners do, and just like you and I did most likely when we started, is word of mouth, right? But
Yeah.
you really just can't scale. It's just you're not going to survive.
I'm so happy that you went that direction. And I was trying to tee up on it simply
Mm.
because, like, I know that when I can almost expect the next email
Uh,
coming in from you. And I always assumed, again, just knowing your personality and like the methodical nature of it, that it was probably very systematized. But I wanted to go down that road because for me personally, I see, and I know it's out of fear, right? But I see so many people getting in their own ways if they have a dream of like starting a business or an agency or whatever,
mm.
because sales is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, it's an uncomfortable process, and it takes a long time to get good at it. It takes a lot of practice to just get comfortable talking about money,
Mm.
in that way where you're not like in a way that it doesn't seem demanding, but at the same time, like you're not being a pushover, like knowing
Yeah.
what you're worth and insisting on it. And and I personally feel that lack of a sales system and just lack of sales in general is the reason why most companies go out of business. Like, most companies
Mm.
don't go out of business because of bad management or poor leadership or whatever. They go out of business because they lose money, because they
Yeah.
run out of money. And and I wish for other people's sake that they took what you just talked about more seriously. It doesn't mean that you have to be some flamboyant, amazing, smooth talking salesperson. Like, I think sales comes down to just outreach and then follow up. And like,
Mhm.
that's kind of basically it. You know, you
Yeah.
can really build a system around it. What
Mhm.
do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree because, and that's what we did. We never, I don't know if you knew this or could tell, but I'm actually a big introvert, and not
For
many
sure.
people, even my girlfriend, she never, we've been together for 7 years now. And she always says, like, when I start talking business, no one would ever expect it, but she knows it's out of kind of survival. You just got to do it.
Mm,
And yeah, it's one of those things you just got to pick up the phone or start the emails and just be top of mind. And the reason why is because I mentioned I'm an introvert is because I never did on stage selling or wanted to be a speaker because I just don't like to be up there talking. But I know that's a great way to get business to, particularly for agencies. So since I knew already from my standpoint, I'm not a speaker. I don't want to get up there. So I said, what other ways can I do it? I have to do cold outreach. I have to get our sales team to do cold outreach, and that's all we did. We just hammered it all the time.
yeah.
And I found that honestly to be more effective, even though people don't like cold outreach. For us, if we look at the numbers and our bottom line, all the clients that we've got and how we got them, we do much better with sales than inbound, let's say ads and things like that. So that was very interesting for us.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned that. And I think it's important to mention that because can't remember what the book was called. I'll put it in the show notes. It's in my bookshelf in the other room. But I remember this guy broke down how sales is just about ratios, and that's all you
Mhm.
got to do. Once you figure out your ratio, then like you can almost project, well, not almost, you can project with relative
Yeah,
accuracy like what your revenue is going to look like over the course of the next 3 6 9 months, just depending on how many outreach emails you make. Once
yeah,
you know your ratios, you can break
exactly.
it down.
Exactly. And what helped too, just in terms of the specialization,
Yeah.
was just because it just popped in my mind and it just happened 2 or 3 days ago. Is if people have a service or product that is not just sold within their region, I mean, going international, and we now have a lot of clients from Spain. And
Oh,
yeah, they initially found us, and it's just kind of similar how any business grows, where you get maybe one client, you do a really good job, they spread the word, or maybe they give you more business. And yeah, now like one thing that we're doing is when we got a small following in Spain, we're like, why not do cold outreach? Because a lot of people are getting tired of companies who might be local and they don't do a good job. Just similar to how a lot of people may not want to outsource to sometimes there's good nightmare stories about working with people from Pakistan or India. Not to say it's cross board, but similarly in different countries, they're running to the same thing, working with local agencies, and that's
mm,
I found out through the customers in Spain. And so I was like, huh, well, let's start the cold outreach to these different countries. So now we have a lot of clients in Australia and Spain. We noticed that there's a lot of people there who are looking for good SEO and link building agencies. We get hit up a lot by Brazil, but the problem is they usually want to work in their language, and it's just
yeah.
it doesn't work. Our clients in Spain, they have clients in the U.S., which is why it works great. And then Australia, they speak English, so no problem.
Yeah. A total side note with that. Uh, in Recife, I think is the city, is kind of
Yeah.
turning into like the new tech hub in Brazil. I've made some pretty good connections with them out there, but yeah, they do like to speak Portuguese. I think they speak
Yeah.
Brazilian. So, um, yeah, very interesting. And thank you so much for taking us down that path. I really, really hope people listening to this take that seriously because like you need to sell, and if you
Yeah.
don't, you're going to go out of business. So I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Let's transition, man. I see your T-shirt, Tactical Hive. I've been following your brand basically since its birth. I've been getting all the emails. I watched the videos most importantly. I do want to give you a chance to just introduce what this new project is, but also what I wanted to talk about is the content that you create for Tactical Hive is way more high level, like really good video quality,
Mhm.
good editing, like long form. You clearly have to plan for it with
Yeah.
production and equipment and stuff like that. Man, like, why did you decide to do that? Because that's really, really hard.
Um, it's pure passion.
Yeah.
and I have this, I've been fortunate where essentially everything I've been passionate about in my life, I've started a business around. And I've also been lucky that there's always been a market for that passion. So if it was martial arts, if it was online marketing, teaching it, if it's let's say the tactical world, those are markets where there's billions and millions, more billions of dollars being spent a year. So it just worked out well. And so I started because, and it's kind of I'll give you the nutshell version. It's the stories on
Yeah,
Tackle Hive's
please.
website. But I've started sports shooting when I was very, very young and just dabbled in it. And didn't decide not to pursue that because I got into mixed martial arts. I fought professionally, things like that. And I've always wanted to, when I was younger, enlist in the military, but it just didn't work out. I became a business person. For some reason, I just gravitated towards that. And so now that the businesses were established, everything was good, everything is, smooth sailing. It's like, hey, might as well do the things that I've always wanted to do when I was younger. So that passion returned, and I was like, okay, I was shooting a lot, and just like any entrepreneur, if you find problems, you come up with solutions. And so when I started shooting a lot, I was getting really, really frustrated, spending a lot of time on money, gear, lessons, all that stuff. And all instructors out there, you wouldn't know who to believe. And we're dealing with something like you're learning a skill that could save your life, but what if the person teaching you this is teaching you something wrong? Now you're at risk.
Sure.
And so I got fed up. I got fed up because simple questions, everyone would be giving different answers. So I was like, okay, I need to start training with people who've actually been in real life altercations, have been shot at, have shot, and so they know what it feels like, the adrenaline, the stress, all that. And I was fortunate to get linked up with a few Navy SEALs who were very, very high up. And it just started from there. The network grew, and now I've rubbed elbows with people from every elite force out there, from Delta, SEAL Team 6, the Rangers, Marine Recon, all of that. So it's really been really cool. And then that just ignited the passion even more. And what happened, I was deciding, okay, why not share this with everyone else? Because everyone doesn't know what the real stuff is. So I was giving a answer to a big problem out there, and it just boomed. And then I realized, well, people wanted more, and I was like, okay, similar to the first website I started, the forum with mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that people were responding, and I was like, okay, there's the opportunity. So it's very similar to what I've experienced in the past. And I was like, okay, let's do what people aren't doing. So similar to kind of when I started specializing with eReach, so it's kind of a combination of things here where
Mm-hmm.
I noticed something was people were picking up, just like the MMA forum. So I decided, okay, maybe we can do something there. Then I decided to specialize because I was thinking to myself, all right, this is going to be the tactical world. Now, what are other companies not doing? And that's when I noticed they don't really spend time producing quality content. So that
Yeah.
is our leverage there. And just a side note, it just happened yesterday. I got invited to be a speaker at Protector Symposium simply because of what we're doing. They know that we're less than a year old, and we've just skyrocketed. We've surpassed a lot of brands who've been around for years in terms of recognition and knowing us, brand awareness. And so people want to learn how we did that. And it's through specialization. There's honestly it's not a secret sauce or anything like that.
Yeah, that specialization word just comes up over and over again. When
Mm-hmm.
the one I remember, I wouldn't consider myself a sports shooter. My dad took me to the range a bunch when I was younger, especially, and he taught me how to shoot. And I've always appreciated when people think of shooting, especially with the sports shooting, there's actually like a real meditative quality to it because you have to
Yeah.
like control your breathing and the focus that comes with it, and especially for me, not jerking before I actually squeeze. That's always
Mm-hmm.
my problem. I like jerk slightly to the left, and so I always miss the target to the left a little. So it's like very much about concentration. But I wouldn't consider myself like a fan of the sport by any means.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, especially the one that you did about the expert sniper,
Yeah.
because I think everybody, when you watch a movie, you think like, how do you actually get a bullet to hit something that's like a mile and a half
Mile away.
away
Yeah.
and like measure the wind and measure all of that? Like,
uh,
how is that even possible? And what the hell is the point of the second guy with it? Because, you know, in the Marines, like, they never go alone. They always go
yeah,
together. But like, for what? I don't get it.
yeah,
And
uh,
20 minutes into this video, I'm sitting there like, oh man, like I understand now. And
uh,
so if there's a lesson to be learned there, like, yeah, taking your time to teach people things that they wouldn't have been able to find anywhere else, like really, really pays off.
yeah, exactly. And it's working. People are loving it. And of course, we have the back end to it. We're generating a good amount of income now.
Good.
So the business side, but it just all started out with passion and just finding the holes and the gaps, which is, it's nothing new, right? You can see this in all these business articles. It's passion, finding where the holes are and trying to find a solution for it.
Yeah. All right. So you've talked about passion a few times, and I'm always interested about this conversation, and I want like your viewpoint on it. This is going to be kind of like an open-ended
Mm,
conversation, sort of. Um, I go back and forth a lot. There's half of me that says like you only live once, right? Find what you're passionate about and try to find a way to make money. But then the logical side of me sees all of the people that like try to be famous singers, and it's like, I hate to say, like, it's probably just not going
yeah.
to happen,
Yeah.
like, and I don't want to like ruin anybody's
Yeah.
dreams. And then on the other side, I'm a big fan of Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy. And I remember this interview that he put together where he said, finding your passion is terrible advice. What you do is you find an opportunity and then you figure out a way to love it. And I look at that and I think like, yeah, damn, that makes a lot of sense too. And you've seemed to find a way to merge these two things, right? Where like you find things that you're passionate about and then you find the opportunity in there. Um, Again, kind of open-ended conversation, but I'm
Uh,
like, I'm just wondering
I
like
I
what that
like
means to you.
I'm glad you brought it up because actually I mentor quite a few people and the topic always comes up and I've had the same conversations and
Yeah.
so I am of the school of thinking here where screw following your passion if there's no market for whatever that passion is.
Yeah.
Okay, like just screw it, so so I forget how did you actually told I think it may have been Noah Kagan, I can't recall, but I think we were talking before and he was saying something like, why would you follow your passion? Like, for example, let's say or I should say, I should backtrack here. That's not passion. So I'll circle back to that. But going back to the passion, where it's like, yes, you might be passionate about something, but if there's no market, you're really going to lose out. And just kind of you're
Mm.
saying, if you want to be the next celebrity, what's the percentage? What are the chances? Right? It's very slim. Yes, you can go for it, but if you look at the ratios, statistics, it's just like small businesses, they go down. So what I generally like to do is if I know that I'm going to think about something for business, then you may have heard about this too. You list out all your passions, list out everything that you're good at, two different columns, and try to match them. So your passion to whatever you're good at. And then after that, determine if there's the third question there, the third column would be, is there a business opportunity? And if there is, what is that? And that's if I'm thinking about it from, let's say, Tim, you're like, hey, let's brainstorm today and come up with business ideas. I would do that. List passions first, what I'm good at, and then the third is, okay, learning, see if I can connect the dots to something that's profitable. And that's if I'm thinking about a business idea. With both, it's just this. I got, it's part of his love with both the mixed martial arts businesses and with my first schools, which are chain of schools now, and Tactile Hive. Those were pure passion, which I just fell into.
Mm.
So to be honest, it's luck. It was luck because I wasn't really thinking from a business standpoint. But with eReach, that was different.
Yeah.
That's where passion, what I'm good at, and that's the formula I follow for eReach. And with Tactical Hive, it just so happens that it is profitable. I now have the passion. I'm good at the internet marketing, and now it is a profitable industry.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear somebody talk about it from that standpoint, because for my blog, for this podcast, like my personal brand for Tim Stodds, people approach me with ideas, and I just come across that a lot where it's like, man, I don't want to tell you not to go for something that you're passionate about. But
Uh,
one of the examples that I always use is when I was a kid, I was a real fan of, well, I still am, not so much anymore, but comics and magic cards. I was a real nerd when I was a kid.
uh,
And there's a ton of passion for that. But if you're really, really trying to make a living, like selling magic cards, like I used to do when I was 14 years old, back when I'd make like $1.50 on a card. And I think like, hell yeah, man, like I'm killing it, like I'm going to be in a real world of hurt. So I really like how you said, find what you're good at, find a passion, and
Yeah.
then see if there's a
Try to
business
connect the
opportunity
dots to
there.
see. Yeah. And I now I remember what I was going to mention. So, you know
What?
how it's kind of the flip side where some people say, what you had mentioned, people say go follow or do whatever what you're passionate about. Let's take
Mm,
the flip side. So there are a lot of people making a lot of money who are not passionate about what they're doing.
yeah,
So
miserable.
if you think about it from that perspective, it's like, so should they stop what they're doing and follow their passion, or do they stick with something? The example that Noah gave me when we were talking a while back was a lot of people who run mortuaries, right? You know, they're good at what they do. Do they like it? Most don't like what they're doing, but they're making a killing. People pass away every day, right? And so they need
Hmm.
mortuaries, and so they're making a killing. Are they following their passion? No. So this is where that I've used that in conversations where it's like, okay, do you necessarily have to follow your passion to make money? No. What you can do is maybe you have this. Maybe you run a mortuary. It's a pretty dark example, but
Sure.
you run a mortuary, and this is something where I graduated to. This you might be relate to this as well. But run the mortuary. Maybe you hate it, right? You don't like it, but why can't you have someone run it?
For you.
Yeah, run it for you. So now you're
Absolutely.
making steady income. Maybe it's not a lot as much as you would if you were running it, but now you're making steady income, passive income, and you can do something else. And that's kind of like also what I'm doing with eReach. So like I don't handle. I'm not in the business doing all these little link building things and stuff like that. I'm still CEO, but now I'm playing more of a traditional CEO where I don't have to get involved in so much. It's more about the vision, and talking with clients and sales, closing deals, things like that.
Yeah. And this is something that I feel like, if we really wanted to get into, you and I could talk about this for a long time, because I feel um, directly in line with how you feel about it. Like, yeah, sometimes you got to put in the 5 years, 8 years to just work, and you're not going to
Mhm.
like it every day. That's fine. But you can put yourself in a position where you can build, like we talked about before, a system around an infrastructure that you built, and then pull yourself out of the business so that you're not in
Okay.
the business anymore. You're on the business, like classical, the E-Myth, right? Michael
Mhm.
Gerber stuff. And I read that book, and it really, really changed the way that I thought about it. And then you get more time to dabble around on the things that you're excited about. And like, yeah, maybe it'll fail, but that's okay. Now
Mhm.
you have like at least an opportunity to pursue that. So
Yeah.
I'm totally
And
in line with how you
And
think
just
about that.
the interesting tidbit. So now, kind of the stages in life. So you know how you're startup entrepreneur, you're grinding, you're grinding, you're grinding. You always think that you have to be in the business. You're not working on the business.
Yeah.
Then the next stage could be somebody who now understands kind of exactly what we just talked about. Where, okay, now I have to hire somebody to run the business, so you can do other things, do other ventures. I have now ventured to the third phase, which is something that it blows my mind, because I think, and it's now about investing in businesses. And the reason why is I will never, aside from Tackle Hive, I'll probably never start another business. Never ever start another
Yeah,
business.
me
Why?
too.
Because it's so much easier to partner and acquire. Because if you approach a business that's already working, there's no more risk. There's absolutely no more risk because you know it's working. So why not just come in and acquire the business, keep the same ownership, keep the same owner working in there, they're operating the business, keep the employees. So you're not doing anything, you're just acquiring. And again, that's cash flow for you if you do the numbers right and just keep on going. Keep on doing it, keep on doing it, acquire. And so this is a game, this is a game I've realized the ultra wealthy are into. And
Absolutely.
it's a game that it's hard to get into because not a lot of people understand it. It's just really, it's foreign to them. And so that's why I think there's stages where you startup entrepreneur and you just kind of go through phases. But now that I've been exposed to the business investing, the mergers and acquisition, I feel like that's huge. Like once you've established a steady business and maybe you sell your business, this is something you might think about doing because it's just really opened my mind and all the big players are doing it.
really opened my mind too. That's right on time with. I think you and I talked through email about Copy Blogger. I
Yeah.
bought space into Copy Blogger, and like 10 years ago when I'm starting Stodzy, I'm looking at Copy Blogger thinking like, man, these guys have it figured out. And then if you, like we said, do the shit that is hard and that is valuable and you just make money, then you can put yourself in a position where you're like, for lack of a better word, you're almost buying passive income,
Yeah.
and that's why I hope to be as well. So I think that we're really similar with that. Um, Man, Myles, I really, really appreciate your time. We've been at it for almost an hour, and you're so gracious, and it's really good to actually get a chance to talk to you. Before we sign off, though, I want to make sure that for people that are interested in Tactical Hive, especially, because I'll put all the links to eReach and stuff, but I know that
Okay.
Tactical Hive is something that like you're really jazzed up about right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where can
Mhm.
they find that?
Yeah, just we're tacticalhive.com, and that's Hive with a Y, so HYVE.com. The same handle on Instagram and Facebook. We're very active on Instagram and Facebook, so a lot of great stuff there. And
Nice.
we're not really more about sports shooting, although we cover sports shooting. But if anyone is interested in self-preservation, protection, it's a great resource. We talk about lots of different things. It's not just about shooting. It's about being prepared, surviving, and just being safe.
Yeah, that's really great, man. Thank you
Mm.
so much. Great, Myles. Let's do this again, bro. It was really,
Yeah,
really good talking
absolutely.
to you.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Any more information you want to find on Myles, I'm going to link all the links on the social media accounts on the show notes of this post. Thank you so much for listening. Please give a like and a subscribe. Is the best thing you can do to support the show. Talk to you guys next time. Myles, we'll do this again soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.